Welcome to John S. Sports Channel, and we're finally here, aren't we? We're finally in game week 1 of the Championship 25-26. Let's see what this season has in store. Let's see what the game week 1 has in store. We're going to be going through the similar format as last season, so please do like and subscribe. Please do subscribe, get those numbers up for me, and just keep in contact. Put the bell on, and we can give you some more information, some more reviews, some more predictions, and we'll give you the odd live watch along on a Saturday. So please do stay tuned. So we're going to start with Birmingham versus Ipswich. Now this is don't tell me that sides that these games weren't pre-orchestrated. Luton Town versus Wimbledon in League One, going up against coming down against going up. Here we've got Birmingham, Ipswich coming down, Birmingham going up, and later, yes, we do indeed have Southampton who came down against Wrexham who went up. So it's quite an interesting set of games on the first day, isn't it? Right. We'll forget that one. Tell me what you think about the games, and are these really just random, or are they quite purposefully placed in each week? Tell me in the comments what your comments are. Birmingham versus Ipswich then. Birmingham firing on all cylinders last season. They loved the fact that they could play such brilliant football, technical. They like space though, and at the beginning of last season, they had fell a little bit awry on the fact that League One was a little bit tighter. You don't get the space to play football. They're going to thrive in the Championship. They love play with a little bit more space, and against teams that they have that give them space, they've been showing that they can play some really good football. Stylish, attacking. Absolutely. Ipswich coming down. I think that they were getting ready for this quite soon in the second, this year, if you like, the second half of the Premier League season. They've not done, and they've not needed to do a great deal of readjusting of that team. It's skillful, it's classy, it's Premier League's class, isn't it? And they've got the parachute payments to still be able to pay those players and still be able to move on this season without making too many adjustments. This is two teams that are going to either go one way or the other. They're either going to play for, I don't want to lose this first game because this is a really critical one. Birmingham and Ipswich, absolutely, both teams are going to be at the top or somewhere near it. In which case, both teams go defensive, don't want to lose it, and you end up with those boring games of 0-0. I can't see this being a 0-0. Absolutely not. I think both teams are going to go at this hammer and tong. This could be one of the games of the week. Birmingham, brilliant side, brilliant tactician up front, and a brilliant pairing up front. I think that this is going to be playing an Ipswich side that want to make sure that winning becomes the norm rather than the rare occasion. I think that both sides will go at this absolutely. What are you saying? 1-1, 2-1, 1-1, 0-1. There's a lot of people here really not knowing which way to go. I want your guidance. I'm getting absolutely none. I think that this is going to go. I think it's going to be high scoring, and I don't think it's going to be 1-1. I think it's going to be Birmingham 2, Ipswich 2, and either of these teams could win it, probably, but even by 3-2. Either way, but I'm going to go with 2-2. Charlton versus Watford next, and Watford just for me, they found their mojo up front. They've been for a couple of years one of those sides that 0-0, boring game, boring nil. I remember one of the Derby Watford games, and it was the most boring game of football I'd seen for about 20 years. Really was. But they seem to have shook that off recently, and certainly in last season and into this season as well. I think you're going to find better, more exciting football, a lot more attacking, a lot more goals. But they're playing a Charlton side that's just come up, and Watford to me were a bit sluggish. I just don't think that they were quite the they were exciting for a lot of the game, but then they just seemed to almost dry up a little bit. They became a little, I think sluggish is probably the right word towards the end of the season. Charlton, however, they got promoted and they are wanting to start this well because I'm guilty as much as anyone else, thinking that Charlton are going to be in that bottom 4, 5, 6 teams, or certainly 4 or 5. And a lot of people are putting Charlton in their predictions as finishing bottom of the league. And I have had 1 or 2 Charlton fans say, you've got us totally wrong. We are going to finish out of that bottom 3. There are worse clubs than us. And they're going to want a home game. Brilliant. They would have wanted a home game against one of the expected bottom 6. They didn't get that. They got Watford. But a home game against Watford is a good game for them. And I think that they're going to try and make sure they put their stamp on this division from game 1. What are you saying? 0-0, 1-1, 2-1, 1-1. This is another one of those where Watford may be thinking, look, we certainly don't want to lose to a team that's expected to be at the bottom. We could have both teams trying to not lose it. I don't think you will, because Watford aren't going to be doing that. And I don't think Charlton are either. They're going to want to try and attack at home. They're going to want to try and stamp their authority on it. So 0-0, 1-1, 2-1, 1-1. I'm going to agree with you lot. I think the majority wins here. I'm going to go with Charlton 1, Watford 1. However, I can see a 2-1 slipping in either direction here. I don't think it's going to be as a 0-0. I really can't see it. Coventry versus Hull City next. And of course, the financial troubles and the embargoes at Hull City. They have been recruiting, though. They have been allowed to take on players, but they've had players go out. So they've had players go out, but a couple of players come in, and you're thinking, I can't see this side actually improving. I don't think it's improving. I think the backroom staff, for me, not brilliant. Not of a top half championship side, which obviously they're trying to get to. They're playing a Coventry team that last season played really well for most of the games. And I say that for a reason. Like at Portsmouth, they played really well for most of that game, the majority of the game. And then in little tiny pieces, they just made total cock-ups. And I was speaking to a couple of the Coventry fans, and I don't speak to the players, the fans, and they were like, look, we should have won it. We should have won different games, and the games that we're losing, we're playing really well in. It's just that we make the most stupid errors, and you think, why did you do that? I can't see them doing that here. However, if they do, Hull City are the sort of team that will snap on that, jump on that immediately. And if Hull City do get a goal or two, it's going to be because Coventry have gone back into last season and made just 1 or 2 errors and allowed Hull City in. I think the Coventry front line is a good one. It's obviously had to sell good players in the past. But I don't think they've really been bad for doing it. They have managed to put in players who have learned the ropes and managed to fill the shoes of the players going out. So I think this is a team that is financially strong and trying to make sure that they get players on, develop them, sell them on for a profit, and then carry on pushing that money back into the club. I like the club. I like the way it's run. Hull City, obviously, they're in the doldrums at the minute. I think there's only one way this is going to go. How do you think? 2-0, 2-1, 1-0, and a 1-1. Somebody actually thinks that Coventry may make an error. If they do make an error, I think that Hull City could actually win this one, because where there's one error with Coventry, it tends to come in 2s or 3s. If they make an error or two, I think Hull City could win it. I don't think that you will. I think that this is going to be a Coventry City 2, Hull City 0. But Hull City fans, wait for those errors. If you get one, I think you could pounce on that absolutely. And this is the other game that we're talking about that came one coming down, one going up. We're talking Southampton versus Wrexham. Now, This again is going to be one of those teams that these games that could be both teams not wanting to lose. Wrexham don't want to be seen to be, losing their first couple of games, not when they're making a film out of it. They want to be running and pushing this. They're not. I can't see them stopping and thinking, let's just hold back and not lose it. I think they want to win it. And Southampton, similarly, they're at the top. They're coming down. They're wanting to show the fans that they can get back into this winning mentality, and they need to. And it's the first game. It's at home. Of course, they're going to try it. No, certainly no 0-0 here. I think this really could be a game of really high scoring. When I talk about Birmingham Ipswich being 2-2, this could be even more important, couldn't it? Southampton Wrexham, what are you thinking? 2-0, 3-1, 3-1, 1-2 to Wrexham. Yeah, and I can really see all of that happening. I'm sort of I'm playing with whether there's going to be 3 or 4 goals here. And it could even be 5. Could be a 5-goal scorcher. I'm going to go boring. I am actually going to go boring. I'm going to go Southampton 2, Wrexham 1. But watch this be a 5-goal, 3-2 win. And watch it be 3-2. Watch out for 3-2. Do comment, like and subscribe. Do you think that 3-2 is an interesting alternative to that one? Borough versus Swansea next. And Borough versus Swansea. Borough for me, they've just lost their way. They keep trying. They've got lots of really good, exciting players in that team. Absolutely, they're sort of low-end Premier League, a lot of them, and you're thinking they're not clicking. They just don't click, and I'm worried about it because I've watched them and they play such great football sometimes, but it's not for long enough. They're not consistent enough, this team, and they just seem to get hit with a couple of goals and they've lost their mojo. They are at home. They are against a Swansea side that was pretty dropping like a brick, wasn't it, last season? And the Swansea side have changed, though. They have managed to improve. How much have they improved? Have they improved enough to get something away at this Borough side? I worry for them. I don't think they have improved quite enough. They have improved, don't get me wrong, and I don't think they'll carry on dropping like a brick. They can't really from the first game, can they? What are you saying then? 0-1, 1-1, 1-1, 2-1. I'm going to go with a sort of mix of what people are saying. I think that Borough will score. I think they'll score more than one. I think Swansea are going to find this one a little bit tough, though, in the first game. Just not seeing them be improved enough to get to this Borough side. I'm going to go for Borough 2, Swansea 0, and we'll move on to the next game, which is Norwich versus Millwall. This is a game where both teams are sort of expected to be sort of there, somewhere in the middle. Now, Norwich have improved quite a bit. Over the summer, they have actually, I think, improved quite a bit. Millwall have improved a bit as well, and I really find this one quite difficult because Millwall can play with some great football. Can they play? Look, they were playing really well at home for years. The Den was amazing, and then last season, I'm saying the Den's become really, really strong, hasn't it? And then all of a sudden, they started losing games at home and winning games away. I'm just wondering whether this is going to be one of them. I think that this Millwall team can score away from home. Certainly can score against Norwich, a Norwich side that was quite poor for me last season. They've got the abilities. Don't get me wrong, but those players just don't seem to be playing at their best. It's a little bit like Rashford in Man United. We've got enough money. We don't have to play to our best, do we? I'm not saying that's happening, but there's a lot of players in there that should be playing at least 20-30% better than what they are doing every week. And they don't. So what are you saying? It's a Norwich versus Millwall, remember? 3-2, 2-1, 2-1, 2-0. I think that this could be one of those games where you where both teams score. I think that's probably a good betting tip from me. I think both teams will score here. And I think Millwall may score first, and that might get Norwich to sort of realise that, hey, we really do have to start playing well together this season. Let's start. So I'm going to go with a Millwall to get a goal first, and I'm going to go for Norwich to come back from behind, much like they have on many seasons in a row. I'm going to go Norwich 2, Millwall 1, and we'll go to the next one, which is a battle of the bottom. This one, these are two of the teams that we expect to be somewhere around that bottom. Although Portsmouth there's a few people putting them in the middle, and a few people are thinking this team this year could get to that top half, even within a spitting distance of that of place 6. And that's not me. That's actually listening to Talk Sport. So don't blame me on that one. That comment came from Talk Sport, not me. I part myself from that comment. Oxford versus Portsmouth. So Oxford, I think everything here is about the style of play, and the players seem to play for Oxford. And I mean that in a good way. They seem to wear the heart on the sleeves, this team, and I really do see them playing 10% better because that's how they play. The fans are brilliant. Three-sided stadium. Who would think that that their cash flow would be this good? But it is, and they are doing well. And I'm impressed by how they're managing this situation. They can't spend millions of pounds on 12 each player, but what they do is really, really good. Portsmouth, I think, are the same. They went into trouble twice, much like Rotherham did, and they've come out. They don't want to do anything stupid like pump money into a team that may not get where they need to be to break even. And they've tried to improve steadily, just a little bit for the last 2 years, bang, bang, and they have done. But in saying that, I think these two teams are very, very even, and that's what they've done, just edged up in their technical abilities, just gently, almost following each other for the last 2 years. What are you saying? Oxford, Portsmouth, remember, 1-2, 1-2, 1-1, 1-1, 0-1. I think that Portsmouth might edge this one, but equally it could go either way around. I think it's going to be 1-0. I think that both teams are really going to be trying to at least get a point here. This could be one of those boring 0-0 draws. Absolutely could be a boring 0-0 draw. But Oxford at home, I don't think they will. I think they're going to try, and it's just a case of will the right-hand wing of in defence, or right-hand defence section of Portsmouth's back line be as poor as it was last season? Everybody went down their left wing and attacked Portsmouth down the left and then crossed it in, and that's where the goals tended to come from. Will it happen again this season? It's going to be very interesting to see. Oxford versus Portsmouth. I'm going to go for Oxford 0, Portsmouth 1. It could be either way. Going through the last few games now, QPR versus Preston. Preston, these are touted by a lot to be going down. Don't see much of a change here. Don't see much of an improvement. And I think that a lot of the teams around them and below them have now improved just a little section above them. QPR are one of those strange sides. They'll enjoy having a home game. They can play absolutely stunning football. Both of these teams are going to try and win it. QPR, for me, have improved over the summer. They are ready to attack this. I think that QPR will take this one. What are you saying? 1-0, 2-1, 2-0, a 0-0. That's interesting. So somebody obviously thought there that these two won't want to lose it. Being hopefully mid-table, both of these teams are thinking, let the ones that are going to run away with it. And I don't think there are teams that are going to run away with the Championship, believe it or not. And I don't think that that's what's going to happen. I'm going to go with the first one. I'm going to go with QPR 1, Preston 0. And this time I think it will be a QPR win. 1-0, 2-0 possibly, but I'm going to go with 1-0. Stoke City versus Derby County. Derby have been really active, haven't they, in the transfer window. This is a great Derby County side. Stoke City, though, they're playing a little bit up and down for me, and that our goalie that we sent you seems to be playing one or two blinders occasionally. I mean, rolling it out to the attacker from your goal line is at least 3 times last season, and I thought, what are you doing, Johansson? And indeed, he looks like he's getting a move to possibly West Ham, so it's going to be interesting. I think that that could cause, and that in itself could cause a little bit of the movement of goalies is never one that you want to take lightly. And if it happens just before this game, that's going to be, it's a little bit of a shocker. It's like jump to move him out and then move another one in at the last minute. I think that this could be a high scoring game, because I think Derby certainly will be going for the goals. What are you saying? Stoke Derby 2-1, 1-1, 0-1, 2-2. I think I'm going to go a little bit more than you lot. I'm going to go against you lot, and I'm going to go Stoke City 0, Derby County 2. West Brom versus Blackburn. The Drawthorns, as it was at the beginning of last season, stopped, didn't it? And they started scoring goals. My God, where did they come from? They are actually now capable of scoring. My word. West Brom side that can score all of a sudden, and they're at home. And I think that impetus will carry on this season. Blackburn side, for me, just didn't hit it. They were always... Look, everybody's going to say to me, but look where they were in the league. Look where they were in the league. But like I said, they kept getting the run of the green. It was poor... Call it poor decision-making. Call it just having the look of that ball. How on earth did that bounce off and go straight to the attacker? They just had the run of green. They weren't playing brilliant football, and they were winning, and that's all that matters, isn't it? Absolutely. Will they get the run of the green here this season? I think that they might do. But in this game, I can see West Brom trying to make sure they don't get the run of the green this year. What are you saying? 2-0, 1-0, 2-1, 2-1. Everybody's saying a West Brom win. I'm going to agree with you. West Brom 2 and Blackburn 0. Last 2 games now. Sheffield United versus Bristol City. Bristol City can score quite easily if they want to. I'm impressed by their tactical changes. I'm impressed by what they're trying to do on the pitch. Sheffield United, few ins, few outs, a few loans in there, and you're thinking this side could do well, but we always seem to say at the end of the season, don't we? Have they gone and messed it up at the last minute? And they did last season, didn't they? So they are at home, but I've seen them last season do so many lose or draw at home when you're thinking, how have they done that against a side in the bottom 6? And you're thinking, I don't understand why they've not just attacked them all straight off and carried on. Sometimes Sheffield United last season, or a lot of the time last season, Sheffield United played to get a couple of goals, 1 or 2 goals, and then shut up shop and say, look, we've got 3 points, we'll hold back on it. And then occasionally, the opposition realised that they'd shut up shop and they weren't attacking them, and just went hell for leather to try and get that first goal or that equaliser. And they did. And it happened too often for me. Can I see it happening here? I can see that defence absolutely doing this. For me, it's how far ahead Sheffield United will go before putting up that brick wall. What are you saying? 3-0, 2-0, 2-2, 2-1. I think look, there are people out there that think that Bristol City will score. I think they will, and I think they can, because of the way Sheffield United set up, and because of the way they play, and because I think Bristol City can and have the ability up front to be able to put it in the box and get it in the net. I'm going to go with Sheffield United 3, Bristol City 2. I think that Sheffield United might just edge this one, and it's not going to be as easy as you think. A little bit like the Luton Town game in League One, where everybody expects one team to absolutely floor this game, fly it, and at the end, I think it's going to be bang, 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 and the Sheffield United managed to keep going ahead and managed to nick it. And it's going to be, well, we didn't expect that. So I didn't expect that game. We go to the last game, which is Leicester City versus Sheffield Wednesday. If this goes ahead, which we do believe it will do, look, Sheffield Wednesday they have but Gary Bannon, of course. They do have some good players in there. Let's face it. They have lost a lot of players, and they've lost a lot of their good players. But they've lost a lot of players I probably would have been thinking to move on anyway. So combined with one or two that I wouldn't have lost. But they're playing a Leicester City side who've just come down from the Premier League. What a one. You wouldn't want, if you didn't want a game when you're in that sort of status as a club, one of the three teams you don't want to play is the ones that have come down. What have they got? Away to Leicester City. What a game and then there was quite a bit of that season where I thought Leicester, if they put a 3 or 4 game win run together, they could just about catch the team in fourth from bottom, and you're like, God, you could just do this, but of course they didn't. What are you saying? 3-0, 4-0, 4-0, 4-1. I think that I'm going to go with the majority here. I'm going to go Leicester 4 and Sheffield Wednesday 0. And I think that may very well be the score by half time. And they might just shut up shop and decide just to kick it around and get sort of 70-80% possession to Leicester City. So that's my predictions. Please do like and subscribe. Comment down below. Remember, click the bell and subscribe. I need your support, and we'll see you on Saturday for the watch along, where we'll go through the goals as they come in. We'll have a chat about the way they're playing. We'll have a look at each game and see how it's going and who's got the ball and have a quick look at how different games are going, and we'll choose a game to be broadcasting in the background so that I can take you through it. So please do join the watch along on Saturday and at 3 o'clock, and I'll see you on Saturday. Thank you. Please do remember, like and subscribe.